Namo good morning. Thank you for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The first mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I vow to cultivate compassion, learn ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I'm determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to condone any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. Our Dharma lesson this morning is on the causes of ill will from Ajahn Thiradhammo's book, Working with the Five Hindrances. Ill will often locks into an aversion circuit, which spins off a variety and intensity of ill will reactions. There is an ill will reaction to the unpleasant feeling, towards the resulting contraction, towards what appears to be the cause of the contraction. Then there's ill will towards the experience of ill will, since that is also unpleasant. Perhaps guilt arises about having ill will, which is also unpleasant and generates more ill will. Thus, the proliferation of ill will may spiral out of control, and before we know it, we are in a maniacal rage, perhaps triggered by some absurdly minor incident. Unfortunately, all too often, the end point is pinning the blame or dumping the hatred onto something, object, person, group, ideology, etc., and then seeking its removal, elimination, extermination. In truth, the root cause is our own inability to understand the nature of unpleasant feeling tones and the ill will reaction within ourselves. You may imagine that if you dump your ill will on somebody or something, it will be a relief to displace this disturbing energy. But the first mistake is that this is also very diluted, because it denies responsibility. It's not my fault, it must be their fault. And often the relief we feel from the discharged energy is taken as proof that the source is out there. Thus, we can never get to the root cause within ourselves. The second mistake is that since most of us find it hard to relate skillfully to this volatile energy of ill will, we tend to conceptualize it and find some excuse for it, hence the familiar righteous anger. They hurt me, I must get even, or they deserve it, or I have to see that the law of karma is fulfilled. That's Buddhist righteous indignation, ill will with a little coating of virtue on it. However, if we take responsibility for our ill will reaction and don't displace it or conceptualize it, with the support of mindfulness and collectedness, we may be able to tune into this powerful energy. There's a lot of energy trapped in the pain contraction. That impending explosion can be tapped into as a source of potential energy for use in daily life and spiritual practice. Also, since ill will is a survival strategy of self, if we can follow this reaction syndrome back to its source, we will arrive at the heart of self-making, ahamkara. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, Sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.